Incoming transmission.
The Klingonese word of the day is Gihipdish. Greetings and welcome to the Computer Resume podcast, the show covering the entire Star Trek franchise in chronological order for fans new and old. I'm your host, writer-comedian Mr. Todd Davis. Newbie horror fan, self-proclaimed soup slut, and the greatest legal professional the world has ever known. I might be a bit biased because she's also my niece. It's Lydia Davis. Yay! Hey, kiddo.
Hey,
How are you?
I am doing well. And can I just say the face that you made when you were saying the Klingonese word brought me a great deal of joy.
I had to avert my eyes because you started laughing. I was like, it's been a few months. Pulling back the curtain for folks, this is actually the first episode we've recorded in 2025 with my surgeries and everything. Yeah, just kind of getting back in the saddle here. But yeah, I've never recorded an episode with you, and I was trying not to cough because I'm still getting over a little bit of a chest cold. But when I saw you like stifling laughter, I was like, I'm not gonna last. This we're both gonna lose it
Yep.
multiple times, and that's okay. That's fine. Well, thank you so much for carving out the time. I know you're incredibly busy. And I already kind of dropped the dime that you're my niece. So let's just dive right in. You, I think it would be safe to say, not a big sci-fi fan growing up, correct?
That is accurate.
Okay.
I've dipped my toe in a little bit here and there. And
Okay.
I've kind of enjoyed what I've watched. I honestly can't think of like specific things that I've watched in the past.
I can't remember if your folks were okay with the Harry Potter stuff. Of course, as it was coming out, you're obviously much younger than me. So I
I'm not
can't.
that much younger, but
Well, thank you
I
for
do have a
saying that.
story about that actually.
Mm,
So okay, not about our age, but about Harry Potter.
okay.
So I actually learned this story from Caroline not too long ago.
Yes.
Uh,
Your older sister Caroline, who has also been a guest on the show.
indeed. So Dad actually used to read us the Harry Potter books before we would go to bed at night.
Oh,
But there was a time when they apparently were like anti-Harry Potter, like can't do that. But
interesting.
me, child of a gay kid, and also just big fan of classic media, I suppose. Big fan
Yeah.
of Wizard of Oz, and I was like, well, Dad, there's a wizard and a witch in Wizard of Oz. Like, what's wrong with Harry Potter? It's like, well, I guess I can't argue with that.
To be honest, that's probably the greatest argument I've heard for it. I'm kind of
Right?
disappointed I didn't think of it myself.
I don't remember thinking of it, but apparently I did. So kudos to me.
Yeah, I want to say, kudos to your folks for reading to you. I don't recall much of my parents reading to me before bedtime. And I think if you look at my report cards, you will see that I was much worse for it. But I know, I've always wondered if, were Kat and I to raise a child of our own, what would I read to them? And of course, now getting into D&D and stuff,
Mhm.
the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, The Hobbit, some of those classic fantasy novels definitely jump out at me. But what we're discussing today is more along the lines of Law and Order. So let's jump into what is your current profession within the legal world?
So currently, I am working as a paralegal for the 13th Circuit Solicitor's Office. I just started this job about a month or so ago, so I'm very much new at it.
Yeah. How are
And
you liking it so far?
I love it. It's awesome.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Because I recall saying to you when you told me that you were looking to go there, that
Mhm.
you were looking to work there, I said, be prepared. You're going to see some horrific things.
Oh, I definitely have.
Okay. All right. All right. All right.
Yeah, it's it, I think it helps to be on the side of the prosecution for the kinds of crimes that I'm working on.
Yeah. It's
Uh,
this is where I mean the discussions here can get really deep really fast because I'm a former police officer
mhm,
who went to work criminal defense
right.
and you're working for the state. You're working for the
Yeah.
prosecution.
Hmm.
So we both are going to have very interesting perspectives
Yeah.
on certain types of cases.
Hmm.
Can you take me through I mean, because I'm just curious. Can you take me through the day to day at the solicitor's office as much as you can, understanding that there's probably some stuff you can't say, but what's a typical day for a paralegal at the
Yeah.
solicitor's office?
So with this particular job, because it's at the courthouse, there are court weeks and non-court weeks. So it's gonna vary depending on, what week it is. Uh,
Mm,
I've kind of done a little bit of everything. I don't technically have I haven't been assigned an assistant solicitor yet. So I should have two solicitors that I'm working under at some, and I don't have that yet. Kind of just dabbling here and there.
mm,
But I will be sitting in like on plea court, so moving papers around and getting people signed in for plea court. All these people that come in, they're like, "Oh yeah, I totally like sold drugs to this person. Sorry."
yeah, yeah, there's a lot of that.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. I would say the thing that I've done the most so far is just delving into cases and digging up as much evidence as I can. So basically, I get a file and I'm reading through police incident reports and saying,
Mm,
okay, like this officer wrote this report and mentions all these other people that he was with on this date at this time. So I need to go on and find body cam footage, see if there's any in-car camera footage, if there are pictures that were uploaded somewhere, or like a 911 phone call that I can pull, is pulling all that information together for my assistant solicitor.
nice, nice. So it's a lot of it's and I kind of dealt with a lot of that as well. On the other end, it's basically the legwork.
Yeah,
You're doing all the grunt stuff for the attorneys.
yeah, and I love
Yeah.
the kind of stuff.
Yeah, there is definitely some satisfaction to putting together a lot of the things, especially again, speaking from my own experience and having them laid out, the different subpoenas to the different people and the different things you find, and making sure that's highlighted so attorney so and so can make sure they see that because
Yeah.
that one's important. Yeah, yeah, it's a fascinating look at our legal system,
Hmm.
all of its benefits, certainly all of its faults. But yeah, there's very few things to equate the view from the inside. I know. So let me get a few more details. Did you go to school for paralegal?
Yeah, so I went to Winthrop University for my undergrad. I got my degree in economics with a minor in business admin. And for about 4 years, I was doing various finance jobs, and I hated them very much. So during the pandemic, I decided I wanted to just make a change. I was working from home for my bank job, and it just sucked so much. I was like, okay, I think maybe paralegal studies would be like a good jump to make. I was starting to get into true crime and was like, well, I mean, I'm interested in this, so might as well see what it's about. So I got my paralegal certificate online.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
I went through the Center for Legal Studies, and they partner with like several universities all around the country. So I went through UGA for that.
Nice.
But I mean, it's Center for Legal Studies, so you can do it anywhere. Um, and currently, I am in a graduate program getting my master's degree in legal studies.
Nice. What's your end goal? Are you looking to get your JD?
I do not want to be an attorney.
Okay.
No part of me wants to be an attorney. No, I really just wanted to kind of learn more about the law without actually going to law school, and be able to like have more responsibility as someone who works within the law without taking that extra step of becoming an attorney. And once I finish my degree, I get a 10% pay raise. So,
Always good. Always
yep.
good to get a raise. Yeah. I remember working at the jail and they made a big deal about, hey, go get your degree. We'll pay you more.
Mhm.
Yeah, and to be honest, getting out of law enforcement and into paralegal was such a career wise was a really smart move for me just because I was able to transition very easily to that side.
Yeah,
And like
especially
you
staying within criminal law, I'd imagine.
exactly with my background, they could hand me a police report and I can tell them exactly what it said,
Right.
as well as what it didn't say and probably should have.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, yeah, it is fascinating. I will say that going through paralegal school and going through criminal justice, going through the academy,
Mhm.
they make a point to tell us like this is going to ruin every cop show, every law show for you. You will see the cracks in every screenplay, in every show, every movie. Have you experienced any of that yet?
Not yet. I also don't really watch those kinds of shows. I mostly just listen to like true crime podcast kind of stuff. So
Oh,
it's just a retelling of a story that's happened. It's not like a fictionalization.
interesting.
And I think that probably helps.
Probably, yeah, because you're definitely. I'm going through. I'm going through Twin Peaks, the show Twin Peaks. It was
Mm.
on. It was on. It was on before you were born.
You and your affinity for David Lynch.
Yes, so let's go ahead and put some air quotes around affinity.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but one of the things that I was doing was Kyle MacLachlan's character is an FBI agent investigating the death of Laura Palmer, for anybody who doesn't know the show. And because I went through basic jail, basic law, basic detective, I was able to sort of follow along. And then after having worked in criminal defense, I was like, okay, this is the next steps he's going to take. He's going to get subpoenas for this person, this agency, and this and
Mhm.
didn't do any of it. And I'm like,
Okay.
this is nails on a chalkboard for me. Every scene is, and then he goes to consult spirits by throwing rocks at a bucket. I wish I was kidding about that. No, that's in the show. And
Have an
it's
experience that is part of the legal process.
oh yeah. That was the day I was sick.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh god. So you're into more true crime podcasts. And you've started dabbling in some horror things. We're gonna shift our focus away from the law for just a second and get into the fact that you're kind of dipping your toe into the horror genre of film. You've come to a couple of the screenings for Cinema Shock
Mhm.
and had a good time, it seems like.
Indeed, yes. It's a great
So
cinema.
what have been some of your more favorite horror movies that you have seen so far?
Mm. The one that comes to front of mind is Scream.
Scream's a good one.
It's a classic.
Absolutely. Oh,
Uh,
don't say classic. That does make me feel old. But it is though. At this
it
point it
is.
is.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's one of those that I wish I had saved it for like later in the horror watching list because it does make so many references to other horror movies that I still haven't seen.
yes, it does.
And I've heard a lot about Scream. It's very much in the zeitgeist, but I
Mm.
was thinking when I watched it that it was going to be funnier than it was. And it was a lot, I mean, it is funny, but it's a lot more like graphic and horror-y than I thought it would be. I was like,
Mm.
oh, like first 5 minutes, we're seeing somebody disemboweled on screen.
Yeah,
Caught me a
yeah.
little off guard, but it's great. It's a really good movie.
It is a good movie. I think because Matthew Lillard
Hmm.
is such a unique personality,
Hmm.
and of course his acting style is right in line with that as well. And because the character he plays is more unique within the world that Wes Craven has set up of his movies. I think that's what sets Scream apart as a quote unquote funnier
Yeah.
horror movie. I think
Uh-huh.
is largely due not only all the references, but and Jamie Kennedy's character has a lot to do with that too. The guy that just the super nerdy horror guy.
Yeah.
I think his character has a lot to do with that too. But I think the lion's share of the funniness definitely comes from Matthew Lillard. Any others?
Get Out is definitely way up there.
Oh, that's a good choice. That's a
It's so
really good choice.
I'm trying to think if there are any others right now. Not that I can think of.
Okay.
Well, I did. No, I really liked that Freddy one that we watched at your house.
Oh,
Another Wes Craven.
yeah, another Wes Craven, New Nightmare.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But you had seen the original
Mhm.
Nightmare on Elm Street, right?
Yeah, I saw just the original and then the new Nightmare.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a good
Mhm.
that's a good way to see them. That's
Yeah,
fine. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's great. I do enjoy the Freddy Krueger movies. Those again kind of very gory but also very funny.
yeah.
I think initially they were funny just because the budgets weren't there for them to do exactly what they wanted to do, so the special effects oftentimes look cheesy and laughable.
Just so great.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Are there any horror movies kind of like on the top of your to watch list? Like anything that you're kind of
Oh,
oh
so many.
oh okay.
Yeah.
If you've got like a top three or top five, I'll take them.
I have it's on my phone, but I have a list that I've been trying to work my way through, which is how I've gotten to watch some of these
Yeah.
horror movies. Like I was watching a lot in a little cluster, and then I kind of just got off of that track. But Caroline and I actually have several that we were planning to watch together at some point.
Ooh.
One of them is Silence of the Lambs, Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh. Here's the thing.
Yep.
It's a classic.
Mhm.
The story behind the making of it is good.
Okay.
I personally am not a fan.
What's that?
It's I don't find it that scary.
Okay.
I don't think it's particularly as well made as some other classic horror films.
Mhm.
It ends up coming off more annoying.
Really?
And let me just reiterate, that is my personal opinion.
Sure, sure,
I've been hounded for that before. I'm not new to that, but yeah, that's just me. You know, it's here's the thing. I like Freddy. I like Michael Myers. Not a big fan of Jason Voorhees. Not a big fan of Friday the 13th. Yeah. It's just I mean, I know they're all kind of the same genre and I'll deal with a lot of the same tropes, but Jason, the first Friday the 13th is just boring. It's very long, it's very drawn out and just ultimately disappointing. Again, that's my opinion. Some people love it. I don't want to yuck anybody's yum.
sure.
Have at it. But it's just not for me. But yeah, yeah. I remember when they did the reboot in I want to say '03 or so, or in the early 2000s,
Mhm.
and it wasn't that much better. you know, so yeah, Friday the 13th, that franchise just isn't for me. Now, however, Freddy versus Jason is a lot of fun.
Okay, yeah. I
That
haven't
one,
seen that one.
it's great. It's get your beverage of choice, grab some snacks, grab some friends, and just have fun with it. It's a lot of fun. Yeah. What else is on your list?
Oh, I need more Jordan Peele movies in my life.
He makes a
Get Out
good
is
movie.
the only one that I've seen. What else? I'm like,
Any other classics?
name some classics for me.
Well, I mean, you've got the universal classics like, Dracula, Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, The
I
Invisible
need to see
Man.
all of those actually.
Which one?
I don't think I've seen any of those classics.
Ooh, okay.
I've seen Young Frankenstein. It's a little
Hey,
different vibe.
yeah, a bit of a different vibe, although very much in the spirit of.
Mhm.
But I would say Dracula's a bit slow.
Okay.
But the original Frankenstein, that is real. It holds up. It's really good, actually. some of the stuff towards the end of that original era of horror, like the Creature from the Black Lagoon, that's where it starts to get a little silly. The original Invisible Man is great. Bride of Frankenstein is great.
Mhm.
There's quite a few. In terms of other like big genre franchises, I think you'd enjoy some of the stuff from John Carpenter,
Mhm.
especially The Thing with Kurt
I've seen the
Russell.
thing.
Oh, you have seen it. What do you think of it?
I enjoyed it.
It's really good. It's a classic. Yeah. It even for a remake, it's still great. It is a remake. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mm. Yeah. A lot of yeah, a lot of people forget that. The Predator and Alien movies.
I've now seen the first Alien movie.
Ooh, what'd you think of the first Alien?
Enjoyed it very much. You gotta love Sigourney Weaver trying to keep her cat alive, you know?
Sigourney Weaver's such a badass. Love her so much.
Perfect. Mm.
Um, that first Predator movie, even though it's very much it's what my wife dubs a boy movie. Um,
That tracks.
yeah, it tracks. It's a bunch of muscle-bound dudes in a jungle trying to kill an alien. That's all it is. But some of the paranoia of like this thing is so close to us and we just can't see it. And it's kind of one of those things of like if you can see it, you're already dead.
Right?
Yeah. Some of those are pretty cool because I mean it's while some of the kills are really horrific, and gory and stuff, those are very much I think those lean more towards the action genre rather
Okay.
than horror.
Oh, yeah, I could
Um
see that. I haven't seen the Predator movies, but I can definitely imagine it being that way just based on what I do know.
I think the first two are I mean the very first one is really really great not only as part of the action horror subgenre but like it's just a really well made movie um and the special effects have aged really well like
Okay.
it's a really solid movie.
I'm always so impressed when special effects just age well. Like
Yeah.
there are so many technology changes so quickly, and still it just hits right.
Well, like here's a left turn in the discussion. We're covering the films of Jim Henson right now
Mhm.
on Cinema Shock.
Yeah.
You want to talk about some really interesting special effects that have aged so well?
Huh.
Watch some of those those first 3 Muppet movies. There is stuff on the screen that plays today just as well as it did in the 70s and 80s. Like it's when you see Kermit riding a bicycle, look, I'm in my 40s. I've watched this movie God knows how many times, but I'm like, that's Kermit riding a bicycle. I don't care what anybody says. I can watch the special features and be like, okay, but he's riding a bicycle.
Right.
So, and it seemed like every movie subsequently, they upped the game. It was just kind of like, oh, you liked Kermit on a bicycle? Here's all the Muppets on bicycles. What do you think of that? Like, oh my God. And they're
Each
doing,
movie just have more and more bicycles.
yeah, yeah. Like, here's Miss Piggy doing a circle, coming back, catching Kermit as he falls out of a tree, and continuing to cycle around in circles while Kermit is singing. Like, how they did that. Like, Justin Bishop, friend of the show, he's the guy on Cinema Shock for all the info. He explained it to me, and I'm just like, you might as well be speaking Chinese because from what I'm seeing, that is Kermit. That is Kermit and Piggy on a bike.
Uh-huh.
Looks so real. Puppet Yoda, like
Hmm.
Puppet Yoda works better than digital Yoda. I'll die on that hill.
Yeah, I get that.
Oh God. Let's see. I have questions for you.
I did remember a couple other horror movies that I love.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Give me some of those. Give me some more of those horror movies. And because we do have to wrap things up sometime tonight, I'll try to keep my comments to a minimum.
Hereditary.
That's a good one. Definitely watch it in the dark.
Hmm.
Try not to pause it.
Hmm. But it's
Yeah.
slow. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I did like Midsummer as well, but I liked Hereditary better. Uh,
Yeah, Midsummer didn't hit for me like Hereditary did.
I've heard a lot of people say that.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the first watch through, but I think second watch through, Hereditary is definitely gonna be a longer lasting, enjoyable film.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. And I mean, I'm not opposed to going back and rewatching Midsummer. The rise of Florence Pugh. I think it would be good to go back and revisit that, but I'm not feeling a huge drive to revisit that. But anyway, what else you got?
We'll have to watch it on the summer solstice.
Yes, yes.
The other one is gonna be Blair Witch Project.
Ooh, we just covered that on the podcast not too long ago.
Did you?
Mm-hmm. I would I would recommend watching it and keep in mind the time that it was made because it is very specific to that like late 90s early
Yeah.
2000s type vibe.
Mhm.
But then check out the episode of Cinema Shock where we dive in on the entire story.
It was one of the first horror movies I've watched, actually.
Oh, that's a good one. But other than those few exceptions, not a lot of experience in science fiction, zero experience with Star Trek.
That is correct.
Okay, so before you sat down and watched this episode and the other episode that I referenced to you, Ghosts of Illyria, you had seen nothing of Star Trek?
Yeah.
Zero. Wow.
I know, I'm a
Oof.
disappointment as a niece. I'm sorry.
No. This is totally fine. It's totally fine. Okay, so again, avoiding spoilers. What were your initial thoughts about seeing a very small sliver of this massive franchise? Like, what were your thoughts right off the bat?
I really liked what I saw. A lot of my brain power was just like trying to figure out what exactly the circumstances were and like what all these different groups of people were, like what all led to this very unfortunate like trial process that's happening right now.
Right.
But it all seems really well put together and thought out, and um, I was excited to finally delve into this world because I've been meaning to do so for a very long time, but I just hadn't gotten around to it. So I feel like now that I've seen a couple of episodes, it feels a lot more accessible.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
It's kind of once you break that seal, once you break that seal, it does go down pretty smooth.
yeah.
As we've done episodes in the past, again, this is episode 130, so we've had quite a few chances to talk with people about various aspects of the franchise. And one of the aspects that we've talked about is good starting points.
Mm,
What is a good starting point for someone who's never watched Star Trek before? Strange New Worlds is a good one because every episode watches like its own mini movie. Sometimes you get a courtroom drama.
yeah.
Sometimes you get a horror movie. Sometimes you get a romantic comedy. Sometimes you get a musical. And they all work. They're all very well done. This cast, the
Okay.
product, yeah.
People?
Oh yeah, there's a musical. Yeah.
Really?
And I mean not it's in the spirit of musicals. No, it is a musical. Like there
Nice.
are multiple musical numbers throughout. It's called Subspace Rhapsody.
You already had a guest on for that one.
I have not.
You might need to bring me back.
Okay. I do have someone who may have called dibs, but I'll
He
have
might.
to check. But I'll have to check with them. Um, I think if I was ever going to get your dad on an episode, it would
Mhm.
be for the musical episode.
That is entirely fair. Yeah.
Jim Davis, hip, shoulder, eyebrows deep in musicals, loves musicals. He's the musical guy for sure.
Literally
Um,
seeing Tipsy on Broadway today. So
yeah. But yeah, I think Strange New Worlds is a good place to start. Discovery is probably a little bit better because Discovery leads into Strange New Worlds. If you really love the aesthetic of 80s and 90s television, then you know, get into The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager. If you love kind of the start of the whole thing, then You can try Enterprise. The ship is practically a submarine. It's the only show where the uniforms have pockets. Um, but you've got Scott Bakula and a bunch of other pretty people solving things in space. And then if you enjoy kind of the wackier side, you've got Lower Decks there's a Star Trek for everybody for
I
sure.
love that.
And you've got a bunch of films as well. So I've met so many people who their first introduction to the franchise was the J.J. Abrams 2009 Star Trek with Chris Pine and Carl Urban and Zoe Saldana and the whole roster of amazing actors who stepped into the roles of the original crew. But yeah, there's no wrong way to get into Star Trek.
I'm here for that. Anytime I can just like jump into a show and be like, all right, I'm here. Let's do it.
Nice. So you watched this episode twice?
So I watched it on Saturday
Mm-hmm.
with my partner Dave, and then last night I watched the lead up episode that you told me to watch, and then I was kind of taking notes throughout my second watch
Ah,
of the first
okay.
episode.
So with this episode, the legal stuff starts right off the bang.
Mhm.
Coming from the legal world and this being your introduction into Star Trek, what did you think about the civil rights case of Starfleet versus Commander Unachin Riley?
I thought it was really well done. It was definitely coming through as a civil rights case,
Yeah.
like from the get-go. The
Mhm.
way they talk about she's a race of person,
Yeah.
and she's undergoing this awful trial for who she simply is and has no control over being.
Mhm.
So that came through incredibly well in a way that it's like, oh yes, we can all relate to this in our real life to some extent, anyway.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I thought the arguments were like way more pertinent than I would have expected them to be coming from a show like this with like I guess my biases behind me, you know. Yeah, I'm trying not to give any spoilers at this
Yeah,
moment.
it's kind of hard to dive into this and stay spoiler free, but I will say Strange New Worlds really kind of broke the mold again, I'll say, because Star Trek has always been very much social commentary about things that are happening in our world right now, all the way back to the 60s. And yeah, you know, looking back on, the original series, there was still a lot of sexism. There was still a lot of, racial things that we hadn't gotten right yet. And let's be honest, we still haven't gotten right yet.
Absolutely not.
But to look at where the original series started and realizing that at that time, in that day, that's what they were talking about.
Yeah.
They were talking about the things that were happening in that world. When Strange New Worlds premiered, there was I think it is the first episode. They show up on a planet and the crew are the aliens. And they show up and Pike was like, "Hey, can we turn the screens on?" And basically from the Enterprise, they send down a video package that includes footage from January 6th from the insurrection.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and that had just that was still very, very fresh. And you could hear the collective viewership, the jaws hit the floor of just like, oh yeah, that just happened. Like, oh man, it was like, yeah, this is Star Trek. We're gonna talk about this stuff. And somehow
But he's
it's
got
somehow it's more palatable when you're talking about people with green skin versus people with blue skin and antennas than to talk about black and white. So if that's what it takes to have the discussion, okay, then we'll go that way.
Mhm.
But yeah, it is hard to talk about this episode without getting into spoilers. So without further ado, let's get to this week's recap. Brought to you in part by our Patreon supporters: Rev J, Jerry Antimano, Kitty B, Ed Milner, Fleet Admiral First Class Fred Sims, and Wren, and Sir Chauncey Dalton Featherstone Waugh III, Esquire.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Spoiler
Una
alert.
is seated across from Pike's girlfriend, Captain Patel, who tells her Starfleet has easily built a case that Una violated Starfleet's anti-genetic modification laws by hiding her identity as a genetically modified Illyrian, but is willing to offer a deal. Una pleads guilty. She'll be granted a dishonorable discharge and no prison time.
Oh, hell no!
Pike retains Illyrian civil rights attorney Nira Katul as defense counsel for Una. The prosecution amends the charges, adding 2 counts of sedition. The punishment now includes 20 years in a Federation penal colony.
Well, this sucks.
And on that note, we cue the music.
Katul argues that the law is unjust and inconsistently applied, and points out that Admiral April has violated General Order 1 when he believed it was right. Lon, a descendant of the genetically modified warlord, investigates how Starfleet learned of Una's status, worried that the info was taken from her own personal logs. Una testifies about the oppression and marginalization Illyrians faced in her childhood, explaining that she joined Starfleet because she believed it celebrated diversity, and reveals that she provided her own genetic status to Starfleet once it was known to the crew. And Lon's all like,
Whoa, that was close.
Katul argues that Una can be construed to have been seeking asylum when she joined Starfleet. The judges accept this interpretation and give Una an acquittal.
And there was much rejoicing.
Incoming transmission.
Is your house without honor? Are the walls of your home covered with paint instead of your enemy's blood? Restore your family's name with authentic weapons and wares from KlingonShop.com. KlingonShop.com has been honorably forging Klingon weapons since 2020. Real replica batleths, macleths, kurleths, the sword of Kahless, and more. Whether you're decorating your domicile or completing your cosplay, KlingonShop.com has everything you need with deals so good you'll think we're Ferengi. And then I'll kill you for thinking such disgusting thoughts. Today is a good day to support KlingonShop.com, unless you're a Patak.
Okay, Mr. Rozhenko, thank you for coming in. That was great.
Of course it was! Now get me the hell out of here!
Hello, this is Elizabeth Dennehy from Star Trek The Next Generation and Star Trek Picard, and you are listening to Computer Resume Podcast.
Okay, so now we are in spoiler territory. Let's get into this. First of all, Una's prison cell may be the nicest prison cell I've ever seen. But what jumped out at you from the retaining of Katul to getting into some of the arguments, getting into the public defender that is provided to Una through Starfleet? I was like, oh man, like she said so much in such a short amount of time that made me just throw up my hands and be like, thank you. This guy is useless.
He really is. I mean, gosh, there's so much to talk. Like, where do you want to start?
Well, I tell you what. Let me ask you this question right off the bat.
Okay.
Do you see any conflict of interest with Pike retaining Katul without Una's knowledge?
Very much so.
Yeah.
So he essentially, theoretically, should be on the side of the prosecution as one of the members of the Federation.
Yeah.
But he's going behind everybody's back and getting this counsel for the defense, which is very much an undermining of the prosecution. The fact that he remains involved in this case and that he is able to do that in the first place is all very questionable.
Yeah, I think so too. I to be honest, like looking at it, and I just rewatched the episodes again today. I watch this episode frequently. It's it's a good episode. But I think it should be noted, I believe that I believe that Pike didn't officially retain her. I think he convinced her to look at the case, and then I think Catul offered to represent her.
That's fair.
Yeah, I think because initially I looking back to those early viewings, I was just like, Pike has no say in who who should be retained for Una. But like watching it again today, I was like, oh, he doesn't actually officially retain her. He just kind of gives the ball a little shove of like, hey, you should maybe go check in with your friend.
It is definitely a tricky gray area.
Yeah.
And even though it's not an official retaining of her, I would say that it's still an undermining of the prosecution.
Oh, for sure. And let's go ahead and speaking of undermining the prosecution, another conflict of interest here that Pike, Una's CO, Una's commanding officer, is romantically involved with Patel.
Mm-hmm.
Big. I mean, and she's clearly not the judge advocate general, but she obviously works in the JAG office. Like, so I imagine it's Starfleet. She's not the only person that they couldn't find anybody else. Was everyone else deployed? That she was the only one available? That's a big conflict of interest, I'd say.
Definitely one or both of them should have recused themselves from this particular.
Yeah, for sure. Or like, I guess because Admiral April is technically Pike's direct subordinate, that it falls in line that way of like Battelle has no romantic connection with April.
Sure.
So maybe that's the logic there, but still that's
when red flag energy.
Oh yeah, for sure. To be honest, I'm surprised that the Vulcan Judge Advocate General didn't have anything to say about it.
Yeah.
Of just kind of like, yeah, let's go ahead and get some folks reassigned. Come on.
I did do some reading after watching it that was arguing that perhaps because this particular trial was so seemingly politically motivated that they wanted to specifically use Battelle as a pawn for the agenda that they were pushing.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point of view. I hadn't considered that. Huh.
Still not good.
But it's still not good. I mean, because I remember, and I'd be surprised if that hasn't happened to you already. Even when I was an intern, we would get the packets of, hey, here's potential jurors or here's people involved in this case. Do you know any of them?
Yeah.
And all the way down to interns, like
literally the first day that I was training in this job, I was sitting with a colleague of mine and she had a list of people that she had just crossed off, like whatever work she had to do. She pulled it back out just to like show me as a demonstration, like, here's what we do. The last name on the list was one of my childhood best friend's fathers.
Oh, wow.
Like, what did you do?
Yeah, I mean,
all over the place.
Not to toot the Davis family horn, but like we're involved in different aspects of the community here in Greenville. And my wife has said, can we, when we do things, can we go out of town? You know too many people. Like, that's fair.
Yeah, there is that.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to another issue here. So I guess this is issue number 3. HIPAA.
Yes.
Since Una revealed her genetic status after the events of season 1, episode 3, Ghosts of Illyria, could Dr. Joseph Mbenga be in jeopardy of losing his license? Because Pike and April were absolved, but there's not much mention of Dr. Mbenga. So Is he cleared as Starfleet medical, and Una revealed her stuff to Starfleet, or is he protected by HIPAA? Is he Starfleet before he's a doctor, or does the Hippocratic oath take precedent over the oath to Starfleet? Any thoughts on that?
Many thoughts. First of all, I will say I am not an attorney. I cannot give legal advice.
Of course. Yes. Let's go ahead and take a quick break and say that Lydia Davis and Todd A. Davis are not attorneys. Cannot
Very
give you
decidedly
legal
not
advice on
attorney.
anything. Yeah. Please, if you have legal questions, consult an attorney, get a consultation, speak with an attorney, not a podcast about Star Trek.
In the specific details of the episode,
Mhm.
and this is assuming that they are adhering to like United States Earth law about medical things.
Right.
I don't know if this is too much of a spoiler. She discloses her own medical information.
Yep.
So she can't violate her own HIPAA privacy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did look into HIPAA laws in terms of Dr. Mbenga.
Mm.
And yes, doctors are supposed to maintain privacy in terms of other people's medical histories and things, but it can be released with a subpoena. So because he was called to testify at trial, I think that it is within reason for him to say, yes, I do know that she is an Illyrian.
Yeah. And I think, and again, I'm not as familiar with the Uniform Code of Military Justice as I probably should be to have this discussion, but in terms of using her blood to treat the crew, I, as a crew member, because I mean, it's not like she went over the PA and was just like, attention, crew of the Enterprise, I'm an Illyrian. It was during a crisis. It was during the events of Ghosts of Illyria, where it was kind of like, okay, we're going to give you this treatment or you're going to die. So, I think there's a question of doing what's best for the crew, especially during a crisis. And I mean, they're in deep space. Like, they need help and they need help now. And captain, your captain was off the ship. Your first officer, your XO, Una, is in charge. So it's her call to offer it. And then it's on your chief medical officer, your CMO. It's on your CMO to decide what to do with it based on not only the Hippocratic Oath to do no harm and within the Uniform Code of Military Justice as adopted by Starfleet. At least that's what I'm thinking. If Legal Eagle wants to get on the horn and correct me, I'm down to have that discussion as well.
I don't have a great wealth of knowledge in this particular area, but that sounds right to me.
Yeah, I think so. All right. So anything else about this episode? You said you made some notes. Did we cover all of your points?
So in addition to like the race argument about Una, there's also the parallel aspect of like LGBTQ asylum seekers, where it's, something that isn't necessarily a visible attribute of this person, but still does exist, where they're being persecuted for this particular attribute. So I did find a legal case that was sort of in that vein. It was this case that was Toboso Alfonso. And it was this guy who was a gay Cuban man who ended up seeking asylum in the U.S. in 1986. Which, surprisingly, in 1986, they granted him asylum. I did not expect that.
Wow.
I mean, there's the whole, like, medical discrimination parallel as well with, like, people with HIV/AIDS coming in and, people kind of like, no, don't come in.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, in Star Trek.
Barrel.
Right. In Star Trek, this would have been in what is considered Legacy Trek, TNG, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and Enterprise. There was a period where they discussed drug addiction and diseases like HIV, AIDS through different episodes. And we touched a little bit on that during our coverage of Enterprise. Any thoughts about the attorney, Catul? Like, we talked about the badass Sigourney Weaver. How badass is Catul here going up? So badass going up in front of the Starfleet Council and just being like, "This is your rules," and he's breaking them.
Mhm.
So
I loved her. She's
Great.
fantastic. I will say I can't imagine a trial situation where she's basically like pulling the wool over her own client's eyes up until the very end.
that's a big roll of the dice.
Yeah, very
I
much
could
so.
I know I could see an attorney going, "Hey, I want you to tell this story,
Mhm.
but then I want you to wrap it up with this phrase.
Right. Hmm.
Tell the story in your own words, but use this phrase. And then I'm going to, tell another story and make sure you say this phrase.
Yeah.
And
And
then
like
I'll take care of the rest."
exactly. Yeah, I get that it's a mic drop moment for the show, but just in terms of like reality.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Of everything in this episode, that's the part that's unbelievable.
Yep.
That an attorney trusts their client to say the right thing.
My God. Never in a million years would that happen.
No. Not even with the smartest client. It's not going to happen. That's the part that stretches credulity. Oh, well, we've talked a lot about the different issues within this narrative, and it's a great story to tell. And I think there's so many people that can identify with the issues that are being presented here. Ideas of persecution, marginalization, and a whole host of other things that I am personally not very well equipped to lead a discussion on, but I do my best. But anyways, yeah, thank you. I appreciate. I do try. But yeah, there are so many great people involved with this narrative. But as we do every episode, we ask the question lovingly: who do we blame? This episode was written by Dana Horgan, who received her master's degree in film studies from Boston University. Her first credit was as an executive assistant. Everybody's got to start somewhere. Starting in season 2 of AMC's Hell on Wheels, starring Star Trek alums Anson Mount and the most important person in Starfleet history, Cole Meany. That's a Lower Decks joke. I know you haven't seen Lower Decks, but watch Lower Decks.
Okay.
Like, oh, I get the joke now. Okay. All right.
You're like, Cole Meany, that's my hero.
Oh, Cole Meany. Yeah, that guy. Great character actor. He's been in a ton of stuff. If you see his face, you'll be like, oh, yeah, he's the guy from The Thing. So then Dana also spent a lot of time writing on Once Upon a Time and Supergirl. Great shows. Both of those are great shows. Before this, her first writing in the franchise, but not her last. And this episode was directed by Valerie Weiss, who studied this. This was the one that threw me for a moment. She studied X-ray crystal. I knew I was going to get that word wrong. Crystallography. X-ray crystallography at Harvard Medical School, earning a PhD in biophysics and a master's in medical science before she was just like, nah, the entertainment industry.
Huh.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess sci-fi makes sense.
Hey, look at David Cronenberg. The guy, his body horror is, he's in a class all of his own and could have become a scientist in probably half a dozen different fields.
Yeah.
He chose to make movies.
Also, Basket Case.
Basket Case.
Basket Case.
There you go.
Horror movie. Good, terrible horror movie.
Right. It's so bad. It's such a dumb movie. So Valerie Weiss's first credit was a film called Dance by Design. It's not a short film. It runs an hour, but she is one of 2 editors. She's one of a cast of only 20 people. She's one of the 7 writers, and she's also the director. And here's a little synopsis of this film, Dance by Design. An architecture student yearns to be a professional dancer, but a lifetime of intellectual and physical training hasn't taught her how to have faith in her passion. Sound familiar? It's basically Valerie's story. Studies science, wants to go into entertainment. Yeah.
Honestly, I'm just thinking of the Bill Hader show Barry.
I adore that show. It is such a great show.
The perfect story.
Oh, yeah, truly. And it's to hear the pitch is so funny to hear Bill Hader and talk with his showrunner. And unfortunately, his name escapes me, but
Say it's Alex Greenberg.
it might be for him to say a hitman starts taking acting classes. That premise alone is fascinating. But then for Bill Hader to say, and I'm the hitman, that just opens up so many things. Oh, and Henry Winkler's going to be the teacher. Like, oh my God. Okay, let's get back to Valerie. Sorry. We're taking
Valerie
time.
is the Bill Hader of the story.
Exactly. So Valerie's no stranger to courtroom procedurals. She's directed episodes of How to Get Away with Murder.
I love it.
I have not seen it. I remember when it was coming out and I was like, that looks fascinating.
I need to rewatch now that I've actually studied law to some degree. Because I watched all of it several years ago. But it's excellent television.
I remember going through civil litigation and we got to the section about jury selection. And our instructor recommended us to go watch an episode of Bull, which is all about jury selection.
Okay.
And boy, is that fascinating. Like all the psychology that goes into it. It's really crazy. But yeah. Oh yeah. So Valerie, she directed episodes of How to Get Away with Murder, Suits, For the People, and Bull. Before this, her first directing gig in the franchise, but not her last. And then as Nira Katul, Yetide Badaki, fantastic actor. Had the privilege of meeting her at Trek Long Island. And not only is she talented, so sweet, such a sweet person. we only got a few minutes to talk, but what a sweetheart. Absolutely adore her. If by chance she hears this, love you. Please come on the show. We'd love to talk to you about your career and your life. You seem like a very fascinating person.
So I would like your costumes, please.
Oh yeah. She's got some great costumes in this for sure. So born and raised in Nigeria, graduated from McGill University with a major in theater and a minor in environmental science. She also has a master's in theater from Illinois State University. And her first credit, she played Naomi in 2003's Expiration, which was written and directed and starring Gavin Heffernan. And she's appeared in episodes of Lost. We've talked about Lost so many times on this show. Criminal Minds. Have you ever seen Criminal Minds?
I watched a little bit of it.
I think you dig it because it's very much the forensic science part of catching the killers and all that. It's a procedural, but it's more on there's a ton. But she's also appeared in NCIS New Orleans with Star Trek alum Scott Bakula. She did 4 episodes of This Is Us and 26 episodes of American Gods. Before this, her first appearance in the franchise for now. I would love to see her return in some aspect. I don't know what. But yes, Yetide Badaki, please come back to the franchise. This is you were so good. We desperate to see you again. Before we finish our discussion about her, I just wanted to point it out. In 2020, she wrote and starred in a short film called In Hollywoodland, which she funded on Indiegogo. It's a reimagining of Alice in Wonderland set in present day Los Angeles.
Oh, that's cool.
That sounds really cool. I did find the trailer, but I couldn't find the short itself. So I'll have to do some more digging and see if I can find it. But yeah, that sounds really, really cool.
I'd be into seeing that.
Oh yeah, for sure. So Lydia, I have a question for you. It's a question we ask all of our guests.
Yeah.
Is this essential viewing? If somebody is sitting down, much like yourself, and watching Star Trek for the very first time, as you did, Is this an episode that people must see, or is this one that they can skip?
It's a tricky question to answer.
Yeah.
Because I've not seen any other Star Trek, but
Yeah.
I would say it's essential. It gave me a lot of what you're talking about comes from Star Trek, touching on, the current issues, making that social commentary while also kind of showcasing the various sci-fi parts of the show. Yeah, I would say absolutely.
Yeah, I think so too. Knowing that the character of Una Chin Riley, we only got a glimpse of her in the original series pilot episode, played, of course, by Majel Barrett, Gene Roddenberry's wife. We only got to see her once. And then we were reintroduced to her through the performance of Rebecca Romaine in Discovery. People went head over heels for her. She's so great. Such a great performance. Nails the delivery. She's got the look. And of course, they did such a great job. Hair, makeup, costume, the whole thing. This is one of those episodes where, and I've talked before about if you're following a particular character's track, like if you're following the story of Pike or the story of Spock, this really does center on Una. And I think it's the first time that we've seen this really centralized story on Una. And it's such a good one. And because of what it sets in motion for the future of Starfleet, and honestly for the future of the franchise getting into the real world, like this is another episode of discussing things that are of the time that have only become more important to discuss as we go along.
Yeah.
This episode came out a few years ago, and it's more relevant now than it was when it premiered. And yeah, like seeing all these things come to light and seeing them presented in this way is, I kind of joked about it at the top of the episode, but honestly, if this is how people need it to be broke down for us to even have this discussion, okay, but let's have this discussion and let's look at what is really at stake here in terms of not only how we do things in this country, but on this planet, and how God and your own soul. I'm not Brendan Lee Mulligan. I'm not going to get on a soapbox of rights and wrongs and what the government is and isn't doing and all that stuff. But like through this episode, everything seems pretty cut and dried. Like they do a really good job of taking this issue that people seem to think is unfathomable or that is impossible to solve. It's impossible to break down. And in less than an hour, we get the resolution of, hey, be good people. Be good people and make the right decision. and Cthulhu phrases it so well of, hey, if we're going to be super strict regarding the law, which we should, I only ask that you be that strict with all the laws for all the people, that it's fair across the board. And that ultimately leads them to making the right decision. And gosh, can we pipe this into the Senate, the Congress? Can we Clockwork Orange them hold their eyelids open and watch this episode? Be good people.
I would be interested to see what comes in future episodes in terms of, they've kind of set this precedent of, okay, exceptions can be made in particular circumstances. Will more genetically modified people be allowed based on the concept of seeking asylum, things like that? And how would they relate that back to popular culture?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Within the franchise, this is not the last time, and this is not the first time that the idea of people, I'll just say the blanket term of people being born different, has been the focus of an episode. And how do we feel about that? What do we think about that? How are we going to conduct ourselves moving forward? A lot of those things have come up again and again and again. So it's interesting to take this episode and look at Discovery and look at Enterprise that chronologically come before this, and the rest of the franchise that comes after this, and see through time, through real time, and within the franchise, the trajectory of that discussion, with hopes that it gets better, with hopes that there's some peaceful resolution that is to the benefit of all parties involved. Like, I mean, but you hope that for everything.
What a concept.
Yeah. Imagine.
Open
Yeah.
vote.
I think so. Like, look, if you want things to change, be the change you want to see in the world. Like, start with yourself. Like, I know because of my raising, because of where we are, the buckle of the Bible Belt, I was raised with a certain train of thought, a certain set of ideals. And now being in my 40s, and as I grew up, and especially as I got my eyes opened, getting into law enforcement, and then getting into the legal profession after that as a paralegal, criminal defense, and then here in my 40s, having done a bit of traveling and having worked with other comedians and drag performers and people who identify differently than I do, it's opened my eyes to see a lot of different things, and a lot of stuff that was like, oh, mom and dad didn't never talk about this, or this wasn't ever covered in church or at school. And, I look at it as my opportunity to learn, to grow, to ask questions, where appropriate, obviously, and to be a better person. I thought that's what we were all trying to. Did I miss the memo? I thought we were all trying to be better people. Oh gosh. Well, Lydia, thank you so much for coming on my little show.
Thank you for having
me. Yeah, it was my absolute pleasure. Do you have any parting thoughts before we start to wrap things up about the episode, the things that happen in the episode, Star Trek as a whole? Is it now on your to watch list? Your first appearance, hopefully not your last appearance on this podcast. And now that I've had you and your sister, we got to figure out how to get your brother on here too. So
yeah, ideally before the baby comes.
That's true.
Or maybe after. Maybe it'll be a good excuse to get out of the house.
Maybe. Yeah. So any parting thoughts before we go?
I really enjoyed Star Trek. I probably will not watch more until I'm done with my thesis.
That's fair.
But I do plan to watch more. And I do, a very good friend of mine has a spreadsheet of all of his favorite episodes of Star Trek and the order that he thinks the episodes should be watched in.
Ooh.
So I might have to take him up on that.
I was going to say, I have a similar spreadsheet.
Of course you do. I think you would be very good friends with each other.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it's been an absolute delight.
Awesome. Well, folks, next time we will be joined by Joe from Captain's Quadrant for Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Season 2, Episode 3, Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, which is available exclusively on Paramount Plus. Lydia, what are you into that people can follow and support? Where can people find you online? Give us all your details.
I would like to support the Julie Valentine Center.
Hey, that's a good one.
They do a lot of work with children who have gone through the ringer.
Yeah. Without getting too into the weeds or into the gory details, they support, because I'm familiar with them too. They're a local charity here in Greenville that supports victims of sexual assault, regardless of any sort of status in your life. They provide support and resources for victims of sexual assault here in Greenville, South Carolina. So yeah, it's a good one.
Very good people. My social media is really just going to be Instagram. It's Lydia Davis 422, which is very creative, and it's also currently a private account, but maybe I'll change that.
Or you can just be super picky about all the Trek fans that are going to follow you. literally dozens of people listen to this. So
I get a whole 2 followers.
hey, there you go. I am at Mr. Todd A. Davis on all of the socials. From all of us at the Computer Resume podcast, thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in 10 Forward.
Support us on Patreon and like, rate, review, and share on all your favorite platforms. Feel free to send us your subspace transmissions to computerresumepodcast@gmail.com or at Computer Resume on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. The Computer Resume podcast was created and produced by Mr. Todd A. Davis. Our logo was designed by Will Martin and Justin Bishop. The opening theme was produced by Justin Bishop, and our outro music was provided with permission by Dronode. Additional music was provided by Mr. Todd A. Davis and Gary Horn, and the voice of Computer Resume podcast and executive producer, me, Kat Davis. # LLAP. We'll see you next time.
Going through a Star Trek. We're doing Star Trek stuff in space. We probably got some phasers and shuttle pods, and we're gonna find a brand new race.
How's that for a slice of fried gold?